Hey guys, welcome back to an episode of Quick Quips with Steven Seagal. This time, Steven Seagal is...
They're gonna come back. Too bad for them. Get our gear in order and prepare for war. We have to send a message. Get the homies strapped up. It's about to go down, baby. Chitty chitty bang bang. Shoot. Kill everything that moves.
Force of Execution. Forgot the name of it. And right now, this movie is very bad. It is very, very bad. And I will tell you why it is bad. Many reasons. No story, no semblance of a main character. Just absolute dog water, terrible. But obviously this film stars Steven Seagal, actual good actor Ving Rhames, and Danny Trejo. And although I love Danny, I love Danny Trejo, it's not surprising that he's in a movie like this because he's Danny Trejo, and if you have enough money, he'll be in it. If you shoot a shot on video film in your fucking granny's backyard, if you have enough money, Danny Trejo will show up to shoot for a couple days. Like, it's Danny Trejo. But Ving Rhames genuinely makes me sad. Like, it makes me so sad that he's in this movie. Dude, you were in Pulp Fiction. How did you get this low? I'm so sad. You fell so hard, and I like you, Ving Rhames. You're a good actor, and you're still in some things now. But why are you in this? You're better than this, Ving Rhames. You're a better actor than anyone in this movie. But I know why he did it. He did it for the moolah. He did it for the ka-ching, you know what I mean? That green. And, let's get started. And, now, normally, I would give you a plot synopsis. If I knew what the fucking story of this movie was, which I do not, I can give you beats of what I think it was trying to be a story. So, I'll give you from what I could comprehend. Bren Foster's character, Hurst, he works for Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal's like this mobster boss guy. Bren Foster is like this enforcer, assassin, hitman, I don't know. And he works for Steven. He's been working for Steven for a long time, and he fucks up one job. He kills the wrong guy. He literally breaks into a prison, shows his face to the camera, shoots a guy literally breaks into a prison, beats the shit out of the guards, and kills a guy, and just walks out scot-free. And then he kills the wrong guy, because Ving Rhames, the contact, gave him the wrong guy as he was fucking there. And then he leaves, he kills the wrong guy, leaves, and then as he gets back to Steven, it's like Steven immediately knows that he killed the wrong guy. It's a little weird. And then Steven's like, he has this weird, southern accent. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. He's like, you gotta do... I don't know. I can't do it. I don't know. Steven, I'm just saying, he was talking weird in this movie. He was fucking weird. And then, because he fucked up, he punished him, he kicked him out, he broke his hands. Well, the other guy did. I think his name was Dante or something like that. And he then moves in next to the store that Steven owns. Not the store, this restaurant, diner that Steven owns, where Danny Trejo works there, and this other girl, blonde girl, works there. Neither of those characters really contribute to the story that much, except for Danny Trejo, fucking witch doctoring shit. The other girl, she does nothing in this entire story. Her character has no reason to exist except for her to be a damsel in distress at the end. She does nothing except get kidnapped like twice. But then, then the movie just devolves into mindless action with, no reason for it. Then there's just, in the middle, then there's just so many strip club scenes, and it's basically just titties! Look at all the titties! You like titties, don't you? You keep watching this movie, there's titties! And it's why? I don't get it! There are so many strip club scenes for no reason other than to show that. And it's it's literally just eye candy to keep your eyes on the screen. Because when you're in the fucking strip club, every strip club scene has no meaning because I can't understand a thing that they're fucking saying. The mixing is so bad. When they're in the strip club, they're Ving Rhames is talking to a guy, and the fucking music, there's no when usually in a crowded area in a movie, there's crowd noise in the background, right? There's crowd noise. But obviously the front of the track, the front of the audio track should be the dialogue, because that's the shit that matters. The shit. And if the music or the background noise is the front of the track, that means the characters are most likely going to be oh, it's too noisy, we need to move somewhere, or acknowledge how noisy it is, or it's intentional for the scene. Most of the time, if you want, I can't believe I need to explain this, if you want to understand a story in a movie, you need to understand what the characters are saying to know what the movie's about and what's going on. I don't know how that is such a hard concept for Steven's little boy director guy to understand, but it's a simple rule of film and anything to understand what the characters are saying. And every scene in the fucking strip club, there was just boom, psh, doom, psh, doom, and you could hear you couldn't understand what they were saying because for some reason they decided to have not background crowd noise even. They had really loud bass boosted music be the front of the audio track. Why? I don't fucking know. And talking about the audio track for a sec, some of the ADR in this movie is god awful. Absolutely god awful. Their character will just their mouth, when they say something in the ADR, their mouth will not follow it whatsoever. Great movie. But I'm getting a little off track. So then, some fight scenes happen. Ving Rhames then wants to be the leader of the game. He wants to be he wants to rule over this shitty underbelly town that Steven runs, I guess he wants to lead it into bigger things in the future. But then that leads me into another little rant that I'm going to have to why does Ving Rhames want to do this? And you might say, but Ronan, what do you mean why? It's so obvious. He wants power. He wants control. But why does he want the power? Why does he want control? And then you might respond, oh, well, he's a big baddie. He's a baddie big bad guy, and he wants all the big power. I guess, again, why? What is the reasoning for this? I don't think the excuse, oh, he's just the bad guy. He wants to dethrone Steven. That's not engaging. That's not interesting. A villain to work needs to have motivations for being a villain. You can't just have a guy in here who is just the opposite of what the main characters want. Yes, that is what villains do, but they need to have a reason for why they're doing these things. Because Ving Rhames has no reason to want power. He has no reason to want to overthrow Steven. He just wants to. Because that's what the story wants him to do. That's what the script said. So he follows the script. Maybe, he grew up in the gang life, and he always thought, he could be big, or he knew a friend who was big, or he knew something. He, maybe Steven killed one of his friends and he wants revenge. Something. The most generic motivations. You give me something to work with to understand why he's doing this. Because then there's one scene where there's the main character Brent Foster, he just waltzes in to, like, this chop shop that Ving Rhames owns. There's no guards guarding the outside. There's nobody to be like, hey, get the fuck out of here. He's literally walks in, looks around, and Ving Rhames is talking to some of his, like, lapdogs, and they go, hey, who the fuck is that guy? And he's like, I don't know. And they just let him walk into somewhere, and it takes him a good, like, 10 seconds for two guys to walk over there and be like, hey, what the fuck are you doing in here? Like, if you could do that, the cops probably would have shut this shit down already. If you're that low on security, how are you even still running? And then he starts to beat them up for a while, and then Ving Rhames in his right hand, they beat him up and they get him down. And I'll talk about the right hand in a little bit. But, like, they have their guns at him, right? They have their guns pointed at him. This is the perfect time to cut some loose ends. But they don't. They just let him live for no reason. And I say that because they have no reason to let him live there. He is loyal to Steven. You know, Steven's looking out for him still. You know, Steven still cares about him. He now knows that Ving Rhames is, like, plotting against Steven. His plans, he knows what he's doing. So, realistically, Ving Rhames would be like, I'm going to fucking shoot you right now, and I'm going to kill you. So that you can't give him a heads up. You can't give him a heads up of what I'm going to do. But he doesn't. He just does what every shitty Bond villain does, and he's like, you know what, I could kill you right now. But I don't really feel like it, you know? I'm not in the mood. That doesn't make any sense. You kill people all the time. What makes you so not want to kill right now? And then, as I mentioned before, his right hand. I don't remember what his character's name was, but he is probably, I don't have a favorite character in this movie, but he is probably a character that I think deserved better. And by that, I mean, he is, you know, in a movie, a villain who has a right hand, the right hand usually gets a big send-off, because they're like a secondary villain, because they are the lapdog to the main villain, right? He is in this movie a shit ton. He's always latched on to Ving Rhames. He's right by his side the whole time. He's definitely the right-hand man, and he just gets sent off with a woof. Like, they treat a character who had, like, 2 scenes beforehand like a big deal, who has a big fight scene with Brent Foster, but the actual character who's been in a lot of scenes, who is actually the right hand to the main villain, he gets sent off like he's just a generic goon like the rest of them. Like, come on. Like, imagine if, I'm gonna get on a whole rant about it, but I feel like it just doesn't make sense for, like, a secondary villain to be treated like a nobody, because he must have gotten to that spot somehow, right? If he's the second in command, or, like, not the second in command, but, like, if he's the most trusted goon to the main villain, he must have gotten there for a reason. He must have been good at what he does, because if he's just there for no reason, then why is he even here? And then I just feel like he should have had a better send-off, and I know that's asking way too much for this movie. But anyway, the movie ends with this girl, Karen, who I think is Steven's daughter. Maybe. I think that makes sense. She doesn't look anything like him, because Steven is like he's out of place everywhere he goes. Weird motherfucker. And Ving Rhames, like, kidnapped her for some reason. And then, like, at the end of the movie, they're in, like, this big bunker shootout kung fu bullshit. I'm not even gonna insult it by calling kung fu action bullshit. And at the end of the movie, like, they put, like, these charges on, like, a electrical box that's supposed to take out the power. One, why don't you just shoot it? Why do you need an explosive? You can just bang bang shoot the You don't need to go through the extra steps of using explosives. You can just shoot it. I mean, maybe you don't want to waste ammo, but you already are wasting ammo by shooting the wall 50% of the time. But anyway, they take out the power. In reality, that means they take off every second light. Very bright in the bunker. It is not dark whatsoever. And this is one of the many times I'm going to bring up the commentary of this movie. Not the commentary, the behind-the-scenes special feature. Yes, there is a behind-the-scenes special feature on this movie for some godforsaken reason. But in this, in the way Steven describes it, he describes it like, okay, so, you know, the villain, he had this hostage, right, and I had to somehow neutralize him without hurting the hostage, or get rid of him without hurting the hostage. So, you know, it's very dark, so I take a flashlight, and I throw it, and he has to look at it. So when he looks at it, I shoot him, I neutralize him, and I neutralize the threat, and that is how I use the weapon, and I shoot the weapon. You know, I am a Russian Mongol, you know, and it's like, cool, Steven, but one, it is not dark whatsoever, and you can still very much see what is going on, and two, he does not have to look at the flashlight. Even if it was dark, he does not need to look at the flashlight. And your entire plan revolving around, what is that? Just tossing something and be like, oh, what's that? That's your entire plan? She should have been dead. How is that a plan? Like, and then he shoots him square in the fucking face. Like, maybe not in the head, but square in the face. And he, like, falls on, like, okay, Ving Rhames is dead. And then, like, you know, they do all the stupid endgame bullshit. You know, they're like, oh, we're reunited and, you know, we beat the bad guy. And then Brent Foster, he like, walks over and he's just, like, kind of awkwardly staring at Steven. Like, that's awkwardly hugging the girl. And it's just really weird. And then he, like, looks to left. And Ving Rhames escaped. He survived getting shot in the face. And it's not like, maybe it could have acted like, oh, it grazed him. I bet that's what the movie was going for. But when he was dead on the ground, there was like a fucking puddle. There was a pool of blood below him. So they basically just said that this man is fucking immortal and there's nothing stopping him. He is the end of days. He's the harbinger of doom, basically. That is what this movie is saying, and that's the only conclusion I want to make, because there's nothing else to bite into with this movie. There's nothing else. And at the end of the movie, Steven's like, oh, I only do bad things to bad people. I don't... Sure, Steven. You're a mob boss, though. You can tell yourself that at first, but you're going to eventually do some bad things to good people, because that's how the business works. It's like... Why do you people make me do this? I don't know. It's like... So then, like, the movie ends with Steven going on a whole monologue in front of his pool in a suit and sunglasses, basically talking about how he's a good man, I guess. He's retired. He's not going to do it anymore. That's basically it from what I could muster. That's it. That's it. I feel like this is one of the worst Steven Seagal movies I've seen in this series so far. It's up there. It's not in the top 3, but it is for sure at least in the top 5. So, getting to the ratings, by real movie standards, this movie's it's a very, very big stonker, if you know what I mean. It's a stinker. It's probably a 3. And I say that because there's, like, no story, really. The dialogue is awful. Makes no sense. The characters are terrible, like I've said. Writing's awful. Basically, not much to enjoy about this movie. I mean, maybe you could say something here or there. I mean, it's not a 1 or 2 because that's, like, worst movie ever. This movie isn't worst movie ever, but it definitely is not good. It is not even anywhere molecule near good. And yeah, real movie rating 3. Now, ironic enjoyment, I caught myself laughing at how stupid and terrible the movie was sometimes. However, most of the time, like, I was just dreading every single second of this movie. 40 minutes in, I'm like, how far are we? And then I looked that we were 40 minutes in, and I'm like, how the fuck are we 40 minutes in? Nothing's happened, right? And that is not a good sign. So I'd give this ironic movie rating a 6. And Steven Seagal movie, there are genuinely, like, fun Steven Seagal movies. And this, this was not it, Chief. Still, Steven Seagal rating, probably also like a 3. So yeah, quick recap. Real movie, 3. Ironic, 6. And Steven Seagal, 3. 363. Nice number. But, yeah. That's my opinion. Take it or leave it. And, yeah. I think I've said all I want to say. I think I've said my piece. So, guys, hope you liked this video. Be sure your friends, subscribe, notifications on, comment below what you liked it. And I've been Runtime HD, and this has been Quick Quips with Steven Seagal. Guys, I'm gonna be real quick. This series is gonna be the end of me. The more recent we get, the more pain you're gonna see. So more entertainment for you guys. Many more sleepless nights for me. I'm gonna have nightmares about Steven's fucking goblin goatee. Signing off.